spokesperson confirmed the development and said that the management is currently trying to reach out to the crew who are allegedly protesting against the new employment terms at the now Tata Group-owned airline. The company also said that they are engaging with the crew to understand the reasons behind the sick leave, the mass sick leave, and will offer a full refund or complimentary rescheduling to all the affected passengers. But what exactly caused such a large number of sick leaves? Sources say that the crew at Air India Express, a subsidiary of Air India, has alleged that there was a lack of equality in the treatment of the staff after the merger with the ownership of Tata Group coming in. Allegations suggested that certain employees were offered positions below their qualifications despite passing interviews. Additionally, claims have been made regarding alterations or removals of crucial components or perks from their compensation package. Sources also indicate a crackdown on dissenting voices within the airline's management. Following the mayhem, on the 8th of May, travelers, many in numbers, voiced their grievances on various social media platforms regarding the abrupt cancellation of their flights. In reaction to a passenger's post on X, the microblogging platform, Air India Express issued an apology attributing the cancellations to operational factors. Remember, resentment among airline staff has intensified following the merger of AIX Connect, previously AirAsia India, with the parent company. Employees have expressed concerns over alleged mismanagement and disparities in staff treatment amidst the mergers. This crisis at Air India Express comes just a month after Vistara, a full-service carrier under Tata Group, witnessed flight cancellations due to pilot-related issues. This time around, it's cabin crew. This situation has prompted concerns in the Ministry of Civil Aviation of India, which is closely monitoring the developments and investigating the matter as of now, and in fact has sought a report from Air India as well. As the deadlock persists between the management of Air India and the cabin crew, all attention shifts to Air India Express, awaiting their strategy to resolve this crisis swiftly and effectively going forward. Now, away from that mess at Air India to a very interesting story that we are tracking, and that has got to do with a very unique company, the only company in India that makes something called as the Indelible Ink. You're wondering what is an Indelible Ink? It is that ink that is put on your fingers the moment you cast your vote. We are in election season, and many in social media are putting up their fingers and expressing the fact that they've gone out and performed their duty as a citizen and getting that mark to say the fact that they have voted. But if you wondered where that ink comes from, that ink, right from the first elections that India ever had to the one that we're having right now, that ink has been made by one company from the south of India. The name of that company is Mysore Paints and Varnishings Limited, MPVL. And that company, which has been specializing in making this indelible ink, is now set to diversify further. And in fact, it is set to diversify so far away from indelible ink, it is set to enter sectors like home decor. Suyash, this is a very interesting phenomenon, isn't it? I mean, it's a unique company that makes a unique product. It's the most unique in every single which way possible. One company making one product right from the first elections to now, and now it's going into making something that many companies are making, which is home decor.
Right, and brilliant introduction, Krishna. I mean, not many people know about Mysore Paints. I mean, this, as you rightly pointed out, the sole supplier of indelible ink to Election Commission of India, and they derive a bulk of their revenue from this product. I mean, 75% of the revenue comes from indelible ink. Rest 25% comes from different businesses such as industrial paints, varnishes, to name a few. But as because of this indelible ink being a major product for them and a major revenue driver for them, it has a big seasonality effect. That said, despite it being a seasonal sort of a business, because only in election time you need this ink, right? in non-election years, they have still managed to post profits and pay out dividends. So that 25% of the business is still doing well. Now they are planning to enter home decor business. Now this is a very competitive space already. Grasim has recently made a foray into the paints business. We have, titans like Asian Paints, Berger, Nerolac already, in the business itself. So how does Mysore go about it? I mean, that would be interesting to see.
Or how does Mysore go about entering the home decor business? And to answer that, we have the Managing Director of Mysore Paints, Mr. K. Mohammed Irfan, joining us on Business Plus. Mr. Mohammed Irfan, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us over here. Tell us, you are a legacy company and continue to be that legacy company from the first elections that India ever held to now. How did the idea of diversifying into home decor business come about?
Yeah, as you were rightly saying, our dependency levels on Indelible Ink were higher. We want to reduce it. We don't know, because with the advent of technology, probably the next elections, they may use Indelible Ink or not. So we are already into paint sector. We are one of the oldest paint manufacturing company. We were set up in 1937 by the late Maharaja. So we are a paint manufacturing company. Basically, we also do Indelible Ink. But Indelible Ink, happens only once in 5 years, or assembly elections, you can divide it over a period of 5 years. So we want to reduce our dependency levels. So we are already into industrial paints, industrial coatings, primers, and other things are there. We want to go into your emulsions, water-based emulsions or decorative paints, and our clientele will be mostly institutional ones. For example, hostels, offices, and such sort. And we'll go in a smaller way in the private sector, the private marketplace also.
I mean, Mr. Irfan makes a very interesting point. How long is Indelible Ink going to be viable? I mean, because we have spoken about this extensively, how different countries are moving towards biometric verification. I mean, we are not there yet, but that's, where we plan to go to eventually. So shifting focus from Indelible Ink, which could be outdated, product moving forward, to perhaps decorative business makes all the more sense.
Makes all the more sense, but even before that, we get to the home decor business. My question here is that, but there's also technological advancements and changes to your own Indelible Ink business itself, isn't it, Mr. Mohammed Irfan?
Yeah, very true. You are saying we are also modernizing our existing plant also, where we are modernizing the plant, and apart from diversification of products also. Our chairman is the current industries minister, and he has shown us, given us a roadmap to how to do that, and we are up to it. We are on it. I think we will be modernizing our plant also, and apart from this thing. And as you rightly said, we are a profit-making company since the day of inception. From 1937, we have never gone in the red in any year, and we have been paying dividend to the government. It is a government-owned company. Major shareholder is the government owned, 93%. Yeah.
And that's because, there's one election happening, or there's either a state election or a central election, happening. So is that how you manage to sell Indelible Ink right through the all the time?
No, to some extent you can say that whenever there is an election year, our profit margin, our profit thing goes up. But we are apart. There are many lean years also where there is no election. Then also we have been in profits only.
And how did you manage that? Is it from your varnishings business, your other industrial paints business? Is how you manage?
Our transport corporations, then electricity corporations, they all procure from us. It is a G. Basically, most of my business is G to G, government to government, and yeah.
Okay. Now tell us, as we spoke about at the beginning, such competition that you have to face now when you enter the home decor business, is that going to be a main focus when it comes to diversification? Only home decor, or are you planning to do more than home decor?
In home decor, our initial target, the low-hanging fruit, as you say, that those will be offices, hostels. There is so much of government spaces there, buildings are there. And I think it will be the procurements and everything will be easier from us rather than the private sector. So I think that will be the initial. We will be targeting initially the institutional buyers only. To some extent, we'll also enter into the private market space.
All right, and so what's the timeline looking like? I mean, when are we entering and when are we, planning this first product launch in this new foray of yours?
Because currently we are under the code of conduct, so we have made up a DPR and all. I think as soon as our code of conduct goes, our procurement for the machinery and this thing will start. We have the space and everything is already there. We have to have some procurement has to happen. I think after the code of conduct we'll start the process, and in 3 months we'll be up and going.
Also, would you need new equipment for the same? Because from what I understand, you are already in the business of industrial paints. Do you need new equipments to shift to home decor?
No, for water-based emulsions, I think we will have to go for some newer machineries, and newer machineries. Through that we can go for some lean manufacturing, and we can compete with. As you said, there are very many big players are there.
Okay, very
we will have to be competitive.
Okay, you have to be competitive, which also means that you have to start doing something which you haven't done before, which is start advertising. Because Indelible Ink doesn't need any advertisements, government to government varnishings and paints doesn't need any advertisements, but home decor business is all about marketing and pitching it right to make it attractive to the consumer.
No, Indelible Ink, you can say it is 40% of my this thing. 60% comes through my paint business only.
Okay.
So I'm a paint manufacturer, also doing Indelible Ink. I'm not an Indelible Ink manufacturer doing paints.
Okay. But the point is that so far your business did not require all this making advertising. Look at the number of paint ads that play out between IPL matches. That gives you an idea of how much you need to market it right. So what is going to be your marketing strategy? Do you have one in mind?
Yeah, that as I said, for me the immediate requirement will be I will be targeting the government spaces. Many of the institutional buyers we will be targeting, and it will be easier for them to procure from us since we are a government entity. Though they will immediately shift to us, and then to some extent we will try our hand at the private sector also and see what is our cost effectiveness and how much we can compete in the quality aspect.
Okay, the reason why I'm asking is that my question was eventually going to be like, who's going to be a brand ambassador, when it comes to selling your home decor business?
Yeah. Presently, I'm under code of conduct. Once I speak to my chairman and the code of conduct is lifted, I think I can answer you better.
Okay, so which means that there is something, there is an answer. He is not at liberty to talk about it. That's Mr. Mohammed Irfan, Managing Director of Mysore Paints. Thank you so much for taking time out to be with us over here on Business Plus. What a fascinating story, isn't it, Suyash, that, a company like this, how many people even know where the Indelible Ink comes from? And now, even before they can figure out where it comes from, that company is moving on from Indelible Ink to other business.
And I think what's more surprising to me is the fact that even in non-elections year, when you don't need your major revenue driver, they are still able to deliver profits and pay out dividends to the investors. And now, since we are talking about one nation, one election, and shifting probably perhaps in the near future to biometric verification, the need of Indelible Ink is going to die out. So the need of the hour for the company is to diversify, and that's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing, and it's and the way you're talking about the company paying dividends and making profits, you would prefer it if it was a listed company, isn't it?
Definitely. I mean, wherever you see a monopolistic sort of a business idea, I mean, that's where you need to be, I feel.
That's where you need to be, and that's the reason why we here at News 9 chose to delve deep into this unique situation. A company that has been making that indelible ink that is put on your fingers after you cast your vote, right from the first ever elections in India to the one going on right now. Take a look at this special presentation that we have put together.
That ink is a semi-permanent dye called the Indelible Ink.
We are the sole manufacturer of this Indelible Ink.
Don't try to repair something which is working.
And if you have facial recognition, you can go vote in any booth anywhere based on where you are, and then it will be recorded that you can't vote anywhere else again.
But, there's a big but.
We are in election season and our social media feeds flooded with people posting hashtag ink selfies, proudly flaunting the ink mark on their index finger as proof of them having performed their constitutional duties. But have you ever wondered what exactly is this ink and where does it come from? That ink is a semi-permanent dye called the Indelible Ink. However, what's interesting is that there is only one company in India that produces this ink.
When we talk about Mysore, Mysore has a rich tapestry of old heritage buildings, but most of these buildings like your palaces, the government quarters, all these buildings have now become a relic. But the Mysore Paint Varnish factory still holds on to that old grandeur, the old structure, and the only modern thing that you see in that entire factory is that lab. It's still not that modern or that tech driven that we see in today's time, but it is sufficient enough for them and for their activities. So they were happy with it, and that is how the entire feel of that entire Mysore Paint Varnish factory is.
We are the sole manufacturer of this indelible ink, which is used in India as well as across the more than 35 countries around the world, which we have supplied for elections. Our product is well established product, and everybody has the trust in us. The accountability of a government company is much more than compared to a private company. Private company, it is mostly profit oriented.
Although indelible ink is inseparable from the voting process, however, there is a notable exception. The Election Commission of India has rolled out a vote from home facility for senior citizens aged above 85 years of age and for individuals with over 40% disability.
It's not that we are taking our machine to them. We are taking our only postal ballot to them, which they will sign, or there will be a stamp. They will stamp the postal ballot, and it will be put back in the envelope, and they will bring it back. So all it means trained manpower which will go to people's homes, and we did it in COVID. It worked very well, and it will work in future also. In any case, in COVID we were giving this service to everybody over 80. Now they have changed it to 85, so which means the number will decline, but then even if it was 80, not a big issue.
The origin of the ink can be traced back to the year 1962, when it was used for the first time in Lok Sabha and Assembly elections. Indelible ink has been in use for over 6 decades now, but it is faced with the possibility of being replaced completely in this age of cutting-edge technology.
We are also doing the R&D work for the invisible ink. Our laboratory also we are doing that. And apart from that, we are also in the process of designing. We have already designed a marker instead of instead of brush application. We have now developed a marker pen for the usage for marking the fingers. That the sample is submitted to the Election Commission. Once it is approved, I think probably in the next elections you will be seeing marker pens.
When it comes to the electoral process in the world's largest democracy, wouldn't adoption of biometrics as a mode of verification seem like the next logical choice?
Yeah, I think it's time to change to facial recognition technology because the fidelity has gone to 98-99%. DigiYatra is showing that it can recognize and do it, and your facials cannot change, right? Your facials cannot change because today when you go to the polling booth, what do? You show a Aadhaar card, you show a voter ID card, and the voter ID card can be forged, right? Because there's no verification. They just see your name, they see the voter ID card. And many people who are ineligible have got voter ID cards. Many people have fraudulently got Aadhaar cards. But Aadhaar is not a source of citizenship or a source for voting, but it is used to make sure there's no duplication. So if you have a facial recognition tool and you go there and the database is captured, you know it. But the big benefit is tomorrow that data can be captured and you can digitally find out and search on the database whether you are as genuine as you are. And if you have facial recognition, you can go vote in any booth anywhere based on where you are, and then it will be recorded that you can't vote anywhere else again.
No, I don't think so. You know, because as they say that don't try to repair something which is working. So if something which has not broken, don't try to repair it if the system is working well. So one should not tinker with it.
Theoretically, my answer would be yes, but there's a big but. The challenge with using biometrics in the voting process in place of indelible ink is the worry. What if what I vote in the voting machine can be tracked and benchmarked, almost like match the following to my biometrics? And which means that the anonymity that the Constitution offers you in terms of your vote being sacred and secret, that kind of could get defeated.
Some people will, leftist NGOs will say surveillance, this, that and all. I think you should ignore that, because there will be enough laws to prevent any misuse, and if there's any misuse, you can go to court and get it remedied. But the benefits for people and the benefits in terms of honesty will be very, very, in terms of fidelity and authenticity will be very, very high. And I think it will be a boon.
How much ever any government, any institution offers, that sanctity won't be compromised. There will always be fears that it will be compromised.
In Goa, in my time in 2010-11, that was the time when Aadhaar was, the authority was just set up, and Mr. Nilekani came to meet us to understand what we were doing. He was just starting and we already had 550 million database. So we decided in our conversation that after Goa, we will not carry on the collection of biometrics because Aadhaar authority was going to collect it anyway. Now, even in that little experiment that we did in Goa, there were lots of problems because many people who were bona fide voters were getting rejected by the machine. It was creating law and order problem for us. How can we reject you when you are a bona fide voter? Although we are a technology superpower, we use technology, high technology, latest technology for every other activity of Election Commission, except in those sensitive processes where there could be possibility of a complaint or possibility of any misuse. Simplicity is the secret of our success. Keep it simple.
India produces between 1,500 and 2,000 films every year, the highest for any country, but they get ignored at international awards.
The Oscars are basically American national awards for themselves.
You're not going to be able to make a better pizza than an Italian chef. You're not going to be able to make a better sushi than a Japanese chef. Will you make better khichdi than a Japanese chef? Right? So I want you to taste my food. We are making cinema that we are proud of.
In fact, it has been 2 decades since an Indian feature film featured in the Oscars International Film category.
All these years, for much of its history, they've been just awarding their own films, and this one tiny category, Best Foreign Language Film, had the entire world frothing at the mouth to get into the Oscars.
This and more. Streaming on News 9 Plus. News is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
Start with the end in mind. You need to know where you want to reach. Every morning that we wake up, we are exercising our choice. The destiny is decided. The results are known that I'm going to win. Life of a goalkeeper is something which has always intrigued me. When you come into a stadium, this is the highest level of pressure. When I set out to do something, I decide in my mind that failure is not an option.
What you feel very strongly about, those are the stories to tell.
I have a mind which is absolutely restless. Mind and body are entangled sensations. That brings me back to golf. It's an amazing game.
This is not a perfect game. You only learn from them.
If you have a formula to a success, then you can replicate it.
I feel this is my first step. I'm starting now.
Winner is first born in the mind. I think, therefore I am. We are all about our mind.
This and more. Streaming on News 9 Plus. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
For the very first time in our investigation, we unmasked the killer of Ravindra Matre.
In 5G, we have to stand with the world, and in 6G, we have to lead the world.
Winning a Grammy was an absolutely surreal experience.
I try and convert almost everything in a kind of a mathematical formula.
You should always stretch more than you can reach.
Listening is very important.
Because if you don't listen, how would you know what the problem is?
Everybody who's working in and around me, their personal well-being is also a responsibility that I carry.
Great leaders have shared vision.
This and more. Streaming on News 9 Plus. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
There's a new video around what deepfake can do.
We had seen a trailer of this a few days back.
Rollers should not be only on the platform.
We'll have to wait and see how those play out.
Hindenburg's report cannot be taken as gospel of truth.
Film and entertainment is definitely one of the levers for any country to build its brand.
We are getting global. I feel that we're just on the takeoff.
More and more films are becoming language agnostic.